past couple of days that some of these guys have gotten out of the camp, whether that be actually out on the ice or learning about the organization, what it means to be a Sabre, stuff like that?
Yeah, camaraderie, what it means to be a Sabre, as you just mentioned, a feel and a better vision of what may lie ahead for them, and the fact that there's reason to be excited for that. I think we saw a lot of positive energy on the ice today and camaraderie, which is important. And you know, these players are proud they were drafted. They're proud that they're, you know, part of an NHL organization, and we want them to be proud that they're specifically part of the Buffalo Sabres. And I think the staff here, the development staff, the Rochester staff, the Sabre staff, you know, all the whole staff of our coaches and management did a nice job to you know, welcome these kids and show them what it's all about. So love the energy out there today.
Guys that you've seen before, maybe drafted last year, do you like seeing the progress they've made? Like Lindgren was talking about, he's put on 11 pounds in the gym and things like that. Do you like the progression you've seen in some of the guys?
There's a distinct progression in guys that were drafted in prior years. Excuse me, and that is part of that's natural, and you know that by virtue of age. But you can also see that big part of it is deliberate training the right way, and combined with, I think, our development guys and the coaches that these guys played for over the last year. With our development guys, they've become better versions of, you know, within the attributes they have as a player, better versions of the style of play that they play, whether that's Kisakov or whether that's Lindgren or Johnson. 3 players, 3 different organizations last year, and they've all enhanced their attributes and their identity as a player through not only strength but awareness.
Do you anticipate a number of them to be called up this year, or you're just going to kind of play wait and see?
Yeah, you wait and see for injuries. I mean, we have a team that's returning that I think the guys that you know who we're going to have, and then it's going to be fill-ins from injuries from that point through the course of the season. But we're returning pretty much the team we had last year, and you know, in preparation, you're getting guys ready for when there is holes to be filled through injury. And again, I like the progress. I think I've spent a lot of time watching Rochester and getting to know the kids that have spent time there, and every day they're more and more prepared to step into that opportunity when it arises.
Impression of Benson getting some eyes on him in this setup?
He was more impressive as things went along. Even today was a perfect example. They had 3 or 4 different segment games, and he just kept getting better, more noticeable every time, and even separation, and very talented hockey player.
When it comes to the process of getting these guest coaches in, I know you were in on the interviews. I guess, what was that experience like, and what were you looking for?
Well, the Coaches Association had contacted us somewhere in the middle of the season, and I asked them to explain what's the process, what do you think? And we wanted to alter the process to the point where we wanted to make sure we're selecting who's coming into our camp, not having that appointed to us. And Matt Smith, Adam Mayer took the lead on it. They actually went through an interview process, which is I would imagine unique, until they targeted the right candidates and people that we felt were most excited about an opportunity to be in Buffalo with the Sabres. Not just somebody who just wants to be with an NHL team and slap that on a resume type of thing. And I thought they did an exceptional job getting, because the coaches we brought in here fit in very, very well, and were great people, and we'll continue to grow a relationship with them as we move forward as a result.
Jack Quinn, obviously, with that injury, he was going to be a big part of your team. He won't be there at the start, likely. How does that alter now with your plans moving forward for the team?
Yeah, not likely. He will not be there at the start by virtue of that injury. So that's for certain. When I think of Jack and that injury, there's an obvious awful side to it. He's not going to be able to play for a while. When you put it in the context of his age and him specifically, and I've said this multiple times, Jack is going to find a way where this injury, he's going to, he can't go on the ice. So he's going to be watching the game from a different angle, and he's going to be adding to his skill set, his talent. He will. He'll sit in meetings daily. He'll have to watch from afar, and he'll pick up things that you wouldn't pick up if you were right in the fire. And he'll come back adding those to his game. Probably figure out how simple some things are, or situations where players tend to complicate what is simple and should be simple. And he'll mature through it, and I know he's going to come back a better player by virtue of that and in his age. So, but it is a bummer to not have him, and it is a bummer because as a coach and knowing him as a person, how much he works for it. So I feel his pain.
There's been assets added to the defense. Just what do you make of the additions of Kyle and Eric, and how can they help you?
Well, a couple things. So Connor, Clifton, and Eric Johnson we're talking about, and there's a couple things that jump to mind right away. First of all, they will fit very well with us, but the biggest thing when we're speaking of them at the outset was the fact they made a decision, and they had options, and they made a decision to become a Buffalo Sabre. That is significant in this, because when you're a UFA, you have options open to you. And I know they had other options, and maybe options that were, there was some different, more incentive for them to go somewhere else. But they valued being here, clearly, and they clearly made that decision quick to be here. So quick and decisive in their mind. I think that bodes well that our reputation is growing. And then those two as players. For Eric, I think he's going to be a great fit and will provide a lot of hockey insight, knowledge, wisdom. He's walked the walk, whether it be a first overall pick and pressure of dealing with expectations, growth through an NHL career, into where he's at maturity and recently winning a Stanley Cup. So there's so much to him. As a right shot D, it's natural, obviously, to play with a left shot D, as we all know. And we have three left shot D in Dahlin, Samuelson, and Owen Power, who guarded most of the minutes as left shot D last year. Bryson being another left shot D. That Eric can lend a lot to Rasmus Dahlin, and he can lend different things to Matthias Samuelson, and then again different things to Owen Power, because he's actually had such a wide spectrum of experience through the league, and that is something that is I look for as a coach. That's great, and then him as a player outright. There's no diminishing the fact that he's a hell of a player present day, and that excited me. Through that process, I was watching lots of defensemen that had the potential to be available, even defensemen that, were talked about being moved around the league, and there were two that I really, really wanted, and it was these two guys. So very, very happy we got them. And then Connor, I've had a history with, and he is a team-first guy that plays physical, has a physical edge. You, as a player on the other team, when Connor Clifton's on the ice. You can just ask any player in the league. They will track and know when he's on the ice. And he's effective in many other ways as well.
So how would you characterize the day with Sean McDermott in the booth watching a hockey game?
That was a pleasant surprise. I didn't even realize he was coming, but we all know how busy that schedule is. So for him to take some time on when he has some downtime to come over the hockey rink or the ice rink is pretty special. Just knowing how valuable his time is to come over here, and then anytime you can sit and talk with him and converse on situations that you go through with, organizations, professional sports, and athletes. It was a lot of fun.
And how different is it that he's never projecting 18-year-olds? He's looking at guys to come in today out of a draft, and you're looking at guys today, it might be 3 or 4 years, so you guys have very different jobs.
Yeah, and we the bulk of our conversation was on that, the process for a hockey player from this point to it's all about at the NHL level and the NFL level. It's about, can these guys help you win? Yes, there's lots and lots of talented players, and but the bottom line is, do they help you win? And these guys at this age are they're in the process of learning exactly what that means, and it's a much longer process in the hockey realm because we're drafting kids much younger with less experience in that regard.
Did anything surprise you about Neuchef and Novikov? It was the first time over here being able to play.
Yeah, it was a lot of pleasant, I wouldn't say surprises, but, because you go in with these guys as a pretty open mind, and the scouts have, fill you in on their skill set and what they can do, and it matched. But it was nice to see that, and nice to see them in person finally. So they did not disappoint. They left you more excited now that you've actually got to see them firsthand.
When it comes to replacing Jack, do you feel, and a little shakeout in training camp, that you've got a couple of real young guys in Savoy and Kulik who, training camp will decide. You got an older guy, maybe a little older, Rusek. I mean, do you feel the answer might be in the organization, or might you have to look outside the organization to replace him while he's out?
Yeah, first of all, Paul, I don't think we have to replace Jack, and I don't think we have to replace anybody, and that's just a whole mentality. We don't have to replace guys. We have guys that are very, very capable, and that goes with the whole theme. You can't go into a second round of playoffs and say, oh, we lost this, we got to replace it. We're good enough. We go, we fill in. There's, we can shift guys around that are talented, and they'll fill spots. So, we are very confident and comfortable with our personnel, but you're always, this is professional sports, you're continually looking for ways to get better and advance your guys that you have, or inside or outside, and that will never ever stop. It's not something we're going to talk about every day, not something we're going to share plans and grand visions with, but Kevin's going to try to improve our team every day. I'm going to try to improve our team every day. Sometimes it's within, sometimes it's pulling somebody in without. But in this case, specifically with Jack Quinn, we have players in our organization right now that will slide into slots that I am very, very comfortable with. But again, that is not to be confused with ever losing sight that we're not going to try to get better and better and better.
Just going back to Connor, he said that he felt the offensive side of his game took a step last year. So where have you seen him grow since the last time you worked with him, and where do you think there's still room to grow there?
The beauty of hockey is there's always room to grow. That's just our sport, which is awesome. So, yeah, he can become better at each thing that he's already good at, and but he knows his identity. He also he's matured enough that his situational awareness, from moment to moment in a game, score on the scoreboard, who you're playing with on the ice, who your line mates are, just different situations that happen. His awareness to a job that needs to get done in each situation it always was good. He always had a sense for it. Now it's honed in even more as a guy that's grown. It's 27 years old, 28 years old. It's like life. Hockey's like life. You become more mature, and you're more efficient as a result. And so, but for him, he knows his identity, and he knows it within the context of a situation, so he can execute even more efficient. For our team as a whole, we've had a young team and a young organization over the last 2 years, and situational awareness is a real growth process. So you had two guys in that are more mature and consistent with that, in Johnson and Clifton, and that'll help everyone else play much better. But Connor, he had a very good year last year. I would expect him to continue to build on that.
considering how many guys. you
Every
have.
pairing in my head, yeah. Yeah. Not have I drawn up a pairing of defensemen in all of them. So, yeah, like I mentioned, Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson, you think about him, and obviously I think about him. I think of, boy, when we have him paired with Darlene, the benefit for both of them. Then if we switch and we have him with Power, the benefit for both of them. And the same thing with Samuelson. I mean, I think that Samuelson is an incredible athlete. He's already good. He's a very good NHL player. But I imagine when Eric is on a penalty kill with him, Matthias is going to move toward more of an elite penalty killer by virtue of sharing the experience with Eric. When Darlene gets in those games, and we've all seen it, and he feels pressure that's not even there, and he puts pressure on himself that's not even there. Eric's walked that walk. He can probably help Darlene reset. And obviously Owen in very similar regard in many other areas too. So I think, that's, an eye into my brain, I guess, when I'm thinking about different pairings and different situations, being a penalty kill or a power play or last minute of a game or top line on the other team. These are all different situations that you need to be awareness that you play differently or you make decisions differently. And Eric's been through that, obviously, all the way to the Stanley Cup championship. So, and as a first overall pick, the pressure dealing with that. So I think he'll offer a lot to the entire group, and I know he will to the coaches as well.
Will those two guys offer an improvement to your penalty killing? I mean, it's almost an obvious question, but I mean, does your penalty killing almost automatically get better by having those two new defensemen?
It should, yes. So, yeah, I was very excited for that reason, Paul. These guys are, the penalty kill is a non-stressor for them. They know, again, situational awareness. They know the reads. They know this talented player has this option A or option B, and right now I took option A away, so they just have a feel for that as those situations that occur in penalty kills. They both have a physical presence. They both are willing to block shots, and they're good at it. They're in shooting lanes. They influence and they dictate a lot. They're not standing back guessing. So, they're two defensemen that really, really can take and do take a lot of initiative on a penalty kill. And when you can influence a situation or even dictate it, that would be one step higher. The other three penalty killers can read more easily. If you can't influence it and you're backing off and you're unsure, your three other penalty killers with you have to be unsure as well because they're reading off of you. So, yeah, they will lend a lot of help and support on the penalty kill.